we do here is go back.
Initializing 5 keys episode 2. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello, and welcome back to episode 2 of the 5 Keys. Today's topic falls under key number 2, game plan. Specifically, getting out of disadvantage. This video will not focus on getting back to stage, getting off of ledge, or any kind of recovery mix-up. A million of those videos have already been done on YouTube, and I figure that getting out of that type of disadvantage is usually pretty character specific. Instead, we'll be taking a look at the disadvantage state that almost every character has to deal with at mid-percents, when the opponent is setting up a frame trap, a juggle scenario, or tech chase. I'm going to be starting off with a lot of the basics that a lot of you real gamers might already be familiar with, but feel free to use this as a refresher for some of the things that you might already instinctively know when you're playing, but might not have thought about recently. And definitely stick around, because I guarantee there might be some stuff later on that you haven't considered. The majority of characters in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate have moves that act as combo starters. They usually confirm into true follow-ups to rack on extra damage or provide stage control for you or your opponent. Most of the time at low percents, if a player uses one of these combo starters or throws that leads into guaranteed damage, they'll usually just opt for that. However, as percent increases throughout the game, and knockback along with it, it becomes less and less likely that you or the opponent will be able to get a true follow-up. This is an incredibly critical moment in most matches, because your DI and your choice out of hit stun will determine if you get out at disadvantage or if you fall right back into the vortex. Depending on the opponent's character, this vortex can lead to huge damage and huge frame advantage.
Game over.
Has this ever happened to you?
Andáis vivos, ese humano, así que no me levanto, loco, weón. Vender plátano en el metro de 100, son 500.
Aerial frame traps at this percent are available to characters who can close the gap fast enough to cover your double jump as you're coming out of hit stun. With vertical knockback that leads to frame advantage, this vortex usually converts into ladders with characters like Fox that can deal insane percentage incredibly quickly.
Oh my god! He's been on point with the tech chase reactions at the minimum on the platform.
With horizontal knockback, moves that are frame positive on hit can easily set up for bridges across the stage and even into the blast zone. In some of these clips, the person getting hit only messed up their DI once in order for all of this to connect and sometimes be true. Certain characters have follow-ups that feel like they cover everything and have such low end lag that they can still react to anything you choose. I know what you're thinking to yourself by now. We get it, sweets. We don't need to see any more examples of how good bridges and how good ladders are. Yeah, frame traps are really good in this game. We understand. I thought this video was about getting out of disadvantage. Well, I know just what you're going to say next.
Maybe try actually DIing Joker up air.
You'll say I've seen through you all this time.
That wasn't it. You didn't guess a single word.
You tricked me into watching a video about how busted frame traps are. And yes, they are busted.
I've seen right through you all this time!
But I'm not here to talk to you about getting out of frame traps. I'm here to talk to you about getting out of disadvantage. So let's get to the good stuff. Let's talk about Airdodge scaling. 90% of the time when I bring up Airdodge scaling to anybody in my community, I get the same answer. They know that it exists, but they do not understand how it works. We'll fire up training mode and grab a seat, because if you find yourself getting frame trapped or juggled in this game, understanding Airdodge scaling and how it differs from normal move scaling might just win you the match. Now let's review for just a moment. Stale move negation, or staling, is a mechanic that has been around since the very beginning. Most Smash players understand how it works when related to using attacks. The mechanic is there to de-incentivize players from spamming the same options over and over. In Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, rolls and air dodges have the ability to stale. When you perform a neutral or a directional air dodge, a single stack is added to the air dodge stale queue. This stack remains in that queue for 60 frames, or 1 full second. If you use either type of air dodge before that 60 frame window can fully complete, an additional stack goes into your stale queue, and the 60 frame timer is reset. This means you now have 2 stacks in the stale queue, and it will take a full 120 frames, or 2 seconds, for both of them to be removed. Every subsequent stack that is added from here on out makes the intangibility from both types of air dodge start progressively later and later, until eventually with 5 stacks in your stale queue, the air dodge on your intangibility will be starting up a full 3 frames later than it normally does. This is a terrible situation if you don't keep a close monitor on it. This means characters with frame 2 air dodges become frame 5 air dodges, frame 3s become frame 6s, and frame 4s become frame 7s. It is worth mentioning that you only get a stack of air dodge staling if your directional air dodge or your neutral air dodge fully takes place. Fortunately, this means that directional air dodging into a tech does not add a stack to the queue, and also if you start up your directional or neutral air dodge and you get stuffed before the intangibility comes out, a stack is not added. God bless. Now I'm sure you're saying right now, sweets, I would never find myself in a situation where I was air dodging 3 times within the span of 120 frames or within the span of 2 or 3 seconds, because I'd still be in end lag, I'd still be getting punished, they'd still be hitting me. And yes, that is probably true, but it's incredibly important to remember that once you have more than 1 stack in your stale queue, it's going to take 60 frames to remove each stack sequentially. It would be very easy to get into a situation where you thought you had fully refreshed your stale queue for air dodges, but because you had 2 stacks, you weren't fully out of the woods, and then you just air dodged 1 time before that second stack was able to remove itself, and the intangibility on your air dodge starts up 1 frame later than you expect it to, and then the opponent ends up confirming into some up air or something off the top that you guarantee was not true and you should have been able to air dodge out of, or in the heat of the moment you react a little bit too slow to a bouncing fish, or a back air that you definitely should have been able to air dodge through on reaction. Because of the way that knockback works at high percents, it's very unlikely that a situation like this would take place, because you'd likely be in knockback or making your way back to stage, and those seconds would be ticking by and refreshing your stale queue. But it's much more likely for this to affect you if you're being juggled, especially by a character that's able to re-grab you and continue juggling If you buffer a neutral air dodge as a fast faller or a heavyweight, and you just fall straight back to the ground, the opponent grabs you, and then they down throw you, and then you try and air dodge again, you're just adding stacks. It's in matchups like these that air dodge scaling is most likely to occur. You can try it once, and if you get out, that's great, but don't do it more than once. Just take the damage that you're gonna take, keep DIing correctly, and even try SDIing, wait until you're far enough out of range to double jump out, and then end the disadvantage.
Okay guys, this video is getting sorta long, so I think that's where I'm gonna have to end part 1 of this 2-part series. I really appreciate everyone who stuck around and made it this far through the video. If you couldn't tell from the opening edit, I had to put a little bit of extra work into getting this one out. It's the reason why my mic quality just got significantly better, but I guess that's something that y'all can look forward to in part 2. Hit subscribe if you like this kind of content, and follow me at LGSweetsTweets on Twitter if you want updates on part 2, or I guess you could hit that notification bell if you really don't want to miss part 2. And leave a like so more people can see this video. I truly cannot believe that there are no other videos on YouTube that cover air dodge scaling in detail. This has been LG Sweets signing out for now, and I'll see you all in the next episode of the 5 Keys.